Well, what a spectacular week in the NFL. First off, I would like to say thank God that Mike McCarthy is calling plays again. This needed to happen. It should have happened much sooner, but better late than never. Big Mike was back at the helm calling plays. Our offensive coordinator had been calling the plays this whole season, and it's cost us a few games. The plays he had called were very screwy, and it cost the Packers some games. But with Big Mike at the helm, Eddie Lacy was Eddie Lacy, running all over the place, running through people, picking up big runs and getting in the end zone. And Starks was pure form too. Our running game was spectacular. Over 200 yards rushing in the game against Dallas. And I know people say, "Well, we were playing against, it was against Dallas, big deal." Let's look. Dallas, they may have problems, but there are a lot of worse teams than the Cowboys. And honestly, some of those worst teams are in their division, Washington. Anyway, so the Packers are 9-4. We're in first place all by our lonesome. And if the scenarios are correct, if the standings, according to the standings, Packers can get into playoffs with a win next week, or possibly if Tampa Bay loses. The official scenarios for Week 15 aren't out yet, but I'll wait and see what happens. We're in first place by ourselves because Arizona, for once, did something right and beat the Vikings. Barely, but they beat them. And the Vikings have fallen off, and that should teach people about that should show people that they should have put the Vikings on this pedestal because they don't have anything. They're a bad team, and they keep proving it. And the Carolina Panthers, they're unbeaten still, 13-0. They beat the bejesus out of the Falcons, so they've got a first round bye. They got and they have a divisional playoff game at home. Yet even so, at 13-0, they're still getting no respect. And as a fan of a team that gets no respect no matter how good we do, I sympathize. How is it that a 13-0 team can be taken so loosely? You know, the Panthers are not being put on the pedestal they kind of should be on. There's no kind about it. They're 13-0. That's something. That says something. You haven't lost a game all year, and it's the middle of December. You should be put on a pedestal. Instead, people are busy putting the Bungles on the pedestal, and Pittsburgh took care of them easily on the road. They still have the Patriots up on a pedestal, even though they let the Eagles beat them. What more do the Panthers have to do? They're undefeated. They keep slicing and dicing their schedule. Well, what do they say? Well, they beat the NFC East. There's nothing in it. Well, you got to beat somebody. And then somebody had the nerve to dissect them even further. Well, they beat Seattle when Seattle was struggling. They beat Seattle when Seattle was struggling. And well, the true fact is that the two teams they beat with winning record were the Packers and the Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks may have been struggling, but the Packers weren't. The Packers were 6-1. We were 6-1 when Carolina beat us at home, at their home, not ours. But even so, they beat the Packers. You know, I as a football fan, of course, give teams they're good enough to beat us, and I give them credit. See, this is just like when Denver beat the Packers. As a Packer fan, of course, I was heartbroken, but as a football fan, I said, well, hopefully, with this win, Peyton Manning better get the respect he deserves this season, and he still didn't. He still fucking didn't. I don't understand it. Peyton beats the Packers, and he still gets no respect. But Brady loses at home to the Eagles. And they still consider him and the Patriots Super Bowl favorites. Where the fuck is the logic? Where is the logic? I don't get it. So, give the Panthers some credit. I mean, they're 13-0. What more do you want? However, I will say this though, and this is a bold prediction. They were going to lose next week to the Giants. Here's why I say that. Now, you may think I'm crazy. Any of you watching this may think I'm crazy saying this, but hear me out. Yes, the Giants look bad. They're 6-7. No reason why they're alive is because the division's a cesspool. I get it. But think back to history. 1998, the Denver Broncos, coming off winning the Super Bowl, started 13-0. Then they ran into the Giants. Giants beat them. 2007, the Giants actually had a chance to prevent a 16-0 season for the Patriots. Now, they didn't do that. However, they ran into the Patriots in the Super Bowl with the Patriots having a chance to become the second ever perfect team. And the Giants beat them when it counted on February 3rd, 2008 in Super Bowl 42. And 2011, the Giants nearly gave the Packers our first loss earlier than we got it. That was our tough game. But even though they didn't give the Packers our first and only loss, that was the Chiefs who did that. Even so, history is on the Giants' side. The Giants have a knack for ending undefeated seasons. I mean, the 98 Broncos, the 2007 Patriots, that's a good track history right there. So, history says this should be Carolina's first loss of the season. And it's in New Jersey. The Giants are at home, so they have a good chance. However, I will say this. If Carolina does beat the Giants, they're going 16-0. Because they have Atlanta and Tampa Bay left, and they're going to win those games by combined 80 points. So, yeah, they're going to blow those teams out. Atlanta is such a mess. Their loss is their 7th in 8 games. They have the same record as the Raiders. And how about the Raiders? They beat Brock Osweiler. I had to throw that in there. But and speaking of under 500, more than half of the NFL is under 500, and this includes not one but 2 first place teams. This could be a first in the NFL history. We could have 2 sub 500 division champions. Now that's gonna have purists bitching. They were bitching when they were bitching when there was 1. They were bitching when they were 8-8 division champions. Imagine the PMSing fit they're gonna have when whoever wins the AFC South, whoever wins the NFC East finish under 500. They're gonna have kittens. It's gonna be crazy. And the NFC South, the AFC South. I mean, the AFC South leader is under 500 again because the Colts and Texans, who entered week 14 at 6-6, they both lost. The Colts got their asses handed to them by the Jaguars. They were up 13-3. They were outscored 48-3 in the second half. How the fuck does that happen? And Houston got rocked by New England. And speaking of New England won the AFC East again this year. This was they clinched on Monday with the Giants win over Miami. The reason why that game was connected, it has to do with the whole strength of victory tiebreaker. That's one of the NFL's long list of 5,000 internal tiebreakers they have. We all know how it goes: head-to-head, strength of victory. Well, I'm not listing them in order, but I'm just listing head-to-head, strength of victory, conference wins, divisional wins, common wins. It's just a long list. It's longer than my arm, but there's a whole bunch of tiebreakers on that list, and strength of victory is one of them. New England had to clinch at least a tie in that strength of victory category over the Jets, and the Dolphins lost, did that. and the Dolphins are officially eliminated, a lot of heads have been lopped off as far as playoff eliminations. 2 teams were eliminated in the NFC, and I think 4 more were eliminated in the AFC. The Ravens are going home, so are the Chargers, Titans, and now the Dolphins are out. The numbers are getting thinned out. That's the beautiful thing about December. Teams get in first place, and other teams get eradicated, just gone. And Jacksonville's win kept them alive. They still have a shot at the division. They're 1 game behind Houston and Indy, and they play each other on Sunday. Houston and Indy play each other this Sunday. Indy already beat them once, so Indy beats them again. They'll be in the driver's seat, a 1 game lead with the head-to-head tiebreaker that equals virtually a 2 game lead. Meaning that if Indy wins, they can win 1 more game and win the division with a more respectable record. But I honestly hope I see 2 sub-500 first-place teams. We need chaos in sports. I mean, shit just needs to be blown up and thrown out of whack and have people going, huh? But anyway. So that was week 14. There's 3 fun, fantastic weeks left in the season. Lord knows what will happen in that outhouse known as the NFC East. You do know this, even Dallas is screwed because they're 2 games out. Well, they're not officially eliminated, but they're screwed. They're in big trouble. And the NFC West can be clinched next week. Arizona needs to win again, win 1 more game to get the West. Though the Packers need Arizona knocked down a peg or 2 because that other first round bye is up for grabs, and other first round bye is up for grabs, and it's between Arizona and the Packers for that. Matter of fact, Arizona and Green Bay play each other in Arizona on week 16, so that could be a very important game depending on where the cards fall. So the week 15 starts on Thursday with the Buccaneers and Rams. We have our first Saturday game of the season, Jets and Cowboys. That could be the Cowboys' Waterloo for the season. And so with that, I say it's going to be a fun playoff race. Enjoy the ride, because I know I am. Until next week.